to Metal Man Productions. I'm going to go ahead and try to get back in the swing of things. It's been about a month and a half since my last video, and it's just been hot. It's been summer, you know, vacation, a bunch of stuff around the house. Yeah, just summer stuff. And summer's wrapping up. It's September 9th, and I want to go ahead and try to get back in the swing of things by jumping into Sam Towns' Bowie build-off. I'm going to go ahead and try to forge a Bowie, kind of get back in the swing of things. So it's September 9th now, and I have till November 1st, I think, to get it done. And I think Quad State is in between now and then, so that's going to be a whole nother weekend. So realistically, that's only leaving me with, I don't know, a couple weekends to work on it, 4 or 5 days. Probably do some hand sanding during the week after work. Yeah, it's gonna be a time crunch. I hope to get it done. If I don't get it done, I don't get it done. Big deal. But it probably will wind up being listed on Etsy when it is finally done. But what we're gonna start with is we have a piece of 1070 steel, and it's 2 inches wide by 3/8 of an inch thick. And we're going to go ahead and attempt to make a hidden tang Bowie. I want to put a D-guard on it, and I'm going to use a piece of handle material that was sent to me by Bobby Shields. It is his burl that he does with the epoxy. And yeah, I don't know how this one's going to turn out. The last one I really enjoyed working with. I made handle scales out of it. This one here is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be a hidden tang. I'm actually going to make a solid handle using it. So as long as I can drill through all that and get all that lined up, so that'll be actually kind of nice to see how that turns out. It's going to be quite a surprise, and hopefully something interesting comes out of it. But also there are some requirements to the build. The blade has to be over 8 inches. The blade has to have a defined or pronounced ricasso area, and the blade has to have a hamon. So most of the steels I have on hand are steels that do not hamon very well. About 98% of what I have is some sort of spring steel. I do have some other steels like rasps and files. I have gotten hamons out of them, but they are not very pronounced, so maybe it's something I'm doing wrong, I don't know. But this is a piece of 1070, and I think I'm going to forge it thick and leave some metal on it, and we're gonna do the hamon with some clay and all that stuff, you know, like everybody else does. But I'm going to quench this one in water, so as long as it doesn't crack in the water, we should be good to go. I think it's going to present a decent hamon, because I think that I will get a really good differential hardening on the blade. So that's the plan anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up. We're going to get the forge started, and yeah, we're going to try and get back in the swing of things. You know, jump in on the Bowie build-off brought to us by Sam Towns, and check out Sam Towns. Got a really cool channel. He's got a podcast. He's got all kinds of cool stuff going on. So he's a very busy man. He's down in Australia. So yeah, it's actually winter down there. So I think the Aussies might have a slight advantage. I don't know what the temperature is in Australia in the winter, but yeah, it's yeah, they've been calling it feels like 100 all week here. So actually it wasn't 100, but it's been up in the high 90s. So turning this thing on is just absolutely out of the question. Excuse me. So I'm gonna quit crying about that and turn it on and get to making a Bowie knife. So hold on. All right, we'll start up at the tip. hot enough for me to start turning it off so I can gab a little bit. So I'm going to narrow the blade at the same time, keeping the upset in check. And I'm going to try to hit this as orange as I can. Yeah, taking that month and a half off. I don't know, I think I might kind of needed it. I was actually having some neck issues that seem to have gotten miraculously better. Not being out here every weekend. It's kind of a reminder, I guess. But you gotta kind of take it easy sometimes. We're not machines. Well, I should say most of us aren't machines. There are a few machines out there. Some of these guys are pretty phenomenal. I don't want to mention no names, so I don't want to hurt any feelings to someone I might have left out. As fun as this can be, if you wind up breaking yourself to do it, it ain't going to be much fun after you're broken. So my last video, when I saw 112 on the thermometer, yeah, that was enough for me to snap out of it and get some other stuff done that I needed to do. Oh yeah, I left out one other requirement to this build was the Bowie has to have a clip point. And it did stipulate it really didn't matter if it was a real edge or a false edge, but it did have to have the clip point with at least a false edge, I believe. And he said to check local laws and ordinances, and I kind of got a chuckle out of that because I ran across this article that came out of the UK. And I guess the UK is moving to ban zombie edged weapons. And it kind of made me laugh a little bit because I have no idea the legal term. How could they come up with a legal term, zombie edged weapon, when zombies aren't even a real thing? That just kind of made me laugh. So in the article they went on to describe a zombie edged weapon as any edged weapon with no apparent useful use. Wow. So yeah, that just seems really crazy. Alright, let's really start to thin this thing down. Using my straight peen. Next heat, I'm going to flip it, use my straight peen, let the face of the anvil take out the peen marks on the opposite side. Alright, so it's been a few heats. I'm just kind of doing the same thing. Using my straight peen. kind of thin it out. Keep the twist in check. And I put it back in and do the other side. And let the face of the anvil help keep it clean. Oh, finally getting some much needed rain. It's been hot. Got a cold front moving in, so we needed this rain for a while. Oh, lost power. That's nice. I got water coming in under the door, so I can move my camera a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to have to start to think about the blade, the ricasso, and the tang. So I guess to eliminate any doubt, I just kind of set down at 12 inches, so that will allow me enough steel. I have an 8-inch blade and probably about a 1-inch ricasso, and that's where I'm going to set down to start my tang. Nothing sharp. Alright. Sorry about that. I guess the rain's done. So I actually found a cool movie that I ain't seen in quite a long time when I was at the thrift store with my wife shopping. I found Highlander in the pile of DVDs. It looked like it was in pretty good shape, so I bought it. And there goes Fire and Rescue. So just had a little thunderstorm roll through, and now Fire and Rescue is on the road. Actually, now that I think about it, 12 inches is ridiculous overkill. I'm probably going to go at 11. Shoot for about a 10-inch blade. But yeah, I watched the Highlander, and it's been so long since I've seen it. I actually forgot how cheesy it really was. Good movie, don't get me wrong, but yeah, with all the sparks flying off the steel, kind of comical. But yeah, good movie overall. But yeah, I can't just watching it now and remembering how cheesy it was. So the evil character in the movie, I don't know if y'all seen it or remember, but his sword is like it connects together in 3 pieces. One of the places where it connects together snaps together like a Lego, and it's right in a section of the sword. It would take some pretty serious blows. Quite comical. But a good movie nevertheless. Another funny part in the movie was when the Highlander was fighting this dude in the car garage. He put his sword into a concrete pylon, and it like went in half of an inch deep, which is fantastical at face value. But and then the detective comes back later on when she's investigating. She's literally picking out big giant slivers of the sword from the concrete that she analyzes and finds that it's some kind of magical folded steel or something. But yeah, at no point, I mean, when you're picking slivers out of a concrete pylon of your sword, yeah, I'm pretty sure that sword's toast. And that was pretty early on in the movie, so. Alright, so that's about all I can do with this right now. As far as the tang goes, I'll be able to move the metal a lot more efficient after I cut it off the bar stock. But right now I was trying to push the entire billet that way because it definitely ain't going this way because obviously I'm holding it back here. And this steel is still hot. So I just wanted to isolate where my tang is going to start. And now I'm going to isolate my ricasso. And we're going to ensure that we have 8 inches of blade, which 8 inches would be right here. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have probably coming around 9.5, 10 inches. So we'll be well within the spec. So I'm going to go ahead and start setting down where my ricasso is going to be. Alright, switch cameras again, using my 3-pound dog nose. And I'm going to go about 1 inch on my ricasso. Now if I need to, I can always cut back. Go ahead and stick it back in the forge and get the other side. Alright, let's get it on the line. And same thing over here. Ooh, that's hot. Excuse my cut table, just moving on me. Trying to make sure I keep it centered. Alright, I kind of took a few heats to work on that ricasso. and the plunge just to kind of make sure it's centered. I think it's pretty close. So now I'm going to start to put the bevels in. Yeah, I was actually thinking about knocking off for the day, but rain came through. Really cooled it down. So I'll probably go until I gotta start making dinner or eating dinner. I don't know yet. I don't know if we're grilling or not. Light blows. Another requirement was the clip had to be at least 1/3 of the blade. Alright, so my tip is a little low, so before I get too thin, I'm going to start to correct that. Not that it's a guessing game, it's just sometimes it doesn't quite work out. It's probably my fault. Perfectly okay. You got to recognize that your tip's too low before you run out of metal to correct it on the edge. So now I think I got what I need. And I'm going to start to clean this up. I'll probably stick with this hammer. So here we go. Alright, so I am tippity tapping. Trying to get my line set. I'm not hitting it that hard. And we're just kind of thinning, plenishing, minor shaping. And we're just going to bring it all into at least the final forging. That's kind of where we're at right now. If I had to guess, it's just over 5/16, and it's probably just over 2 inches wide, so we're on track. Alright, so I got most of the forging done on the blade and the ricasso area. So I'm going to take a couple of normalization cycles, get ready to cut the blade off the stock, and I mean, this is going to be tapered down for a hidden tang, so instead of just sitting there and hammering that from 2 inches all the way down to about an inch or 3/4 of an inch, I'm going to go ahead and remove some of that with the bandsaw just to save on time and propane. I mean, I could hammer that down to a taper and do all that, but it's really just a waste of time and propane. So like I said, I'm going to cut it, on the bandsaw, and then I'm going to get it close, and then I'm going to draw it out from there, so it should go a lot faster. And then I'll have my tang done. Alright, so it's actually the next day, and this morning I got out early and cut the excess material off of the tang area with the bandsaw. And I also went ahead and jigged it up with my file guides, and with a file started to establish my plunge line and make sure that I had a pretty good ricasso. And I also measured the blade, and the blade's coming in at 9.5 inches, so it's pretty much where we expected it to be, and that's from here to here. I verified that my little clip there is 3.5 inches, so that is over 1/3 the length of the blade, so I'm good there. So next I'm going to go ahead and isolate a small portion of the end of the tang, and we're going to draw that out to so I can make my threads for to screw the pommel on to lock everything together. And yeah, just give it kind of a once over, maybe get it in the vise a few times just to make sure it's straight. And yeah, we'll be ready to start grinding. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back, and we'll be in the guillotine tool. So hold on. Back on the straight peen. Let's stretch this out a little bit. I got more than enough thread length there. I'm just getting it closer, go a little bit faster on the grinder. Alright, I'm just doing some normalization cycles. This is the second one. I'm going to do one more, leave it in the forge to cool down, and then we're going to go to the belt sander. So I'm going to knock this video off here. I'll show you the final forging. We've got a little bit of profile work already done. Got the tang done. We got the back of the tang set up for threads. Ricasso set, plunge lines are set. So yeah, we're well on our way to getting the bevels ground in and the flats, make sure everything's nice and straight. So we're going to wrap this video up here. After the next normalization cycle, I'll get some close-up pictures of it, show you guys where we're at. And yeah, just want to thank you guys for stopping by again and checking me out after a little hiatus. And remember to check out Sam Towns, jump into the 2023 Towns Bowie Buildoff. There's a hashtag there, so you can check him out on all the major platforms, and he has podcasts. And you can check my stuff out on Etsy, metalmanproductions.com, and I'm also at Instagram, metalmanproductions.com, Rumble, and YouTube, of course. So, all right, thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you on the next one.